in there, and I am going to turn this over to Brian Halligan.
Great. Thanks a lot, Jean. George, nice job. I want to drill down a little bit into let's say you're a business owner or you're the head of marketing in a business, sort of what do all these changes that George talked about mean for you, and what do you have to do day in and day out to sort of transform the way you market to sort of match the way people actually shop and learn today. And the thing that really jumps out to me is that I love this slide. It's the picture on the left is actually my dad, Bob Halligan, and the picture on the right, that's me lying down on the couch on my MacBook Air. And I just think about how my dad sort of lives and shops and learns. He was a senior exec at GE for a long time. And, we're from Boston. We had 5 television stations, so he would watch TV. We had 2 newspapers, the Boston Globe and the Daily Transcript. He had a telephone. He probably got 5-10 calls a day, and he got mail. And that was sort of the input into his brain. And that's how he was influenced. If somebody wanted to sell to him, they would sort of interrupt their way to him through one of those means. And I just think about myself and the inputs into me, and it's just very, very different. I've got not 5 stations, I've got 500 stations, plus I've got an Apple TV. I follow several thousand people on Twitter. I've got an RSS feed that's streaming in. I've got a couple thousand connections on LinkedIn. I'm kind of addicted now to this thing called Google+, which I recommend everyone check out. I'm starting to use Salesforce's Chatter tool, my Facebook feed. It's just a massive amount of information coming into me, and just the way I live and shop and learn, boy, is so much different over the last couple of years than it was just 3, 4, 5 years ago. So the first change that marketers need to sort of get their arms around is, gosh, just massive changes in the way people live and shop and learn. The second one is the traditional playbook used for the last 20, 30, 40 years to reach people, whether that's interrupting people with television ads or newspaper ads or cold calling people or direct mail or email spam. The playbook is just basically fundamentally busted. No one cares anymore. People are sick and tired of being marketed to and interrupted in their daily lives, and they're using sophisticated technologies like a DVR to block out the TV ads, caller ID to block out the cell phones, and all of us are just getting really better and better at shutting marketers out. And tough tutus for marketers today. It's really a tough world to live in. There's dramatic changes in the way people are living and shopping and learning, and people are sick and tired of our playbook. The playbook's just broken. And so my thesis in my life these days is that marketers really need to transform the way they market to match the way humans actually learn and shop and buy stuff today. And I call that a transition from outbound kind of interruption-based marketing, where people do cold calls and they advertise a lot and they do email spam and they mail stuff to people, to more inbound marketing. How do you pull people in the natural and new course of the way people shop and learn, whether it's through blogs or free applications or through Google search engines, through Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. And I think all companies over the next 2, 3, 4 years are going to have to figure this out if they really want to grow their businesses, because the old playbook just is broken. And there's a couple things I like about this new playbook. The first thing I really like about it is most marketers today are business owners. They rent their way to success. The traditional marketing playbook was, I'm going to rent some space in a newspaper ad. I'm going to rent some space on a website. I'm going to rent some space on Google when someone does a search. Marketers in general are renters. And today I just don't think renting works. It's an ownership model where you're creating your own content. Each piece of content is a permanent asset that you own on your property. And I think of marketers that if you're the CEO of Ford Motor Company, you've got assets like you've got inventory, you've got machine tools, you've got factories. As a marketer, you've got assets as well. How many white papers do you have? Do you have webinars? How many Twitter followers? How many Facebook fans? These are the new modern marketing assets, and they're not rented, they're owned. You have to start owning your assets and building up highly scalable assets. The other thing I really like about this modern sort of inbound marketing is your success as a marketer today is much more about the width of your brain than the width of your wallet. It's really not that expensive. It's about really leveraging social media, search engines, and really transforming the way you market. And I don't know if folks are watching the economy today, but stock market's down another, I just saw it before the webinar, 2.9%. Economy doesn't look great. As a marketer, if you want to be really effective, even in a down economy, stop throwing money into advertising, throwing money into cold calling, throwing money into all these old school things that people are getting really good at sort of blocking out, and create modern marketing assets that are actually quite inexpensive and use them to scale and grow your marketing. So how do you go about this transformation? So there's Halligan's sort of two plays. I've got a two-play playbook to do it. The first is I call it, you need to become a tofu titan. And tofu is my little abbreviation for top of the funnel. So when I think of your sales funnel, you got the top of the funnel, how do you pull people into your business? And then I call mofu the middle of your funnel, how do you convert people into leads and nurture them in really clever ways? And then bofu is sort of the bottom of the funnel, how do you manage your customers? So tofu is how do you really stretch the top of your funnel? How do you go from, 5,000 visitors a month to your website to 50,000 visitors to your website a month, which is very doable today. And the real arbitrage opportunity for people today on the internet is on the top of the funnel. If you want massive nonlinear growth, the top of the funnel is where the action is. And the tofu playbook is actually very, very simple. You need to create tons and tons of great content, whether that's webinars, ebooks, blog content, you name it. Each piece of content is like a mini magnet for potential customers. Each piece of content pulls people in through Google, pulls people in through Twitter, through Facebook, through LinkedIn, through Google+, through all these social media networks. And what we've noticed really works in social media is people who are just active in social media, they tweet a lot, they're active on Facebook, they're active on LinkedIn, and they're commenting a lot or sharing other people's content. They get nice linear growth in social media, but the people who introduce new and remarkable content into the social media sphere, they get massive nonlinear growth in their followership in the social media sphere. So the way to really crank it is create as much content as you can. The new way to market is think of yourself as a publisher. Publish as much content as you can. Publish your way to success. Optimize that content, and they get very, very good at promoting and collaborating around it in Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all these different social media sites. And it just works like a charm. I started at HubSpot here 5 years ago, started the company. It's amazing. I love watching these small businesses grow. Without a lot of money, they're really scaling their businesses up in a neat way. And my favorite case study I'm going to use today is a company called Netflix. I'm sure many of you have heard of it. And these guys are one of the world's best inbound marketers, and they're very good. They're tofu titans. And what I mean by tofu titan here is they've got tons and tons of remarkable content. And what I mean by tons, that first word there, is I asked Google how many pages from Netflix do you have in your index? And it turns out they have 798,000 pages on their website. Each page on their site is an opportunity to rank for hundreds or thousands of different keywords in Google, or an opportunity to get tweeted about or mentioned in Facebook, mentioned in LinkedIn and whatnot. So just lots and lots of content. Each piece of content is an asset, is a magnet to pull customers in. So you want as many pages as you can. Many websites with 100 or 1,000 pages, think 10,000. How do I create a massive content creation factory? So that's the first word in this little thing where it says tons. The second word is remarkable content. I stole this word remarkable from my friend Seth Godin, and what he says is you want other people to remark about your content. You want them to link back to you from their blog. You want them to link to you from their Google Plus or their Twitter or their Facebook account. In Netflix, 35,000 unique different website domains have linked back to Netflix. So that's a lot of links. Links are to the internet as dollars and cents are to the economy, especially in the social media world. The more links, the more likes you get, the better off you do, not only in social media, but it also plays down into Google and Bing, where Google and Bing now are using Facebook and Twitter as major signals onto your importance in the social media sphere. And the third word in here is everywhere. You want to create all this remarkable content, and you want it to be all over the internet. So for Netflix, they have over 1.6 million Facebook fans. They have 95,000 Twitter followers. In April alone, they had 200,000 downloads of their iPad application. So you want to create lots of content, make sure it's remarkable, and make sure it's available across all these different platforms. Your website, you need to completely rethink your website, where it's not this brochure that sort of sits online. It's this living, breathing, changing thing. And the conversations happening in Twitter, Facebook, Google, all these different social media sites are part of your website now, so make sure your content's well syndicated. So that's tofu. You need to become a tofu titan. Open up the top of your funnel, tons of content, well optimized, push it out into the social media sphere, create conversations around it. Gosh, it just works. The second thing you need to do, so use tofu to open up the top of your funnel, you need to become a MoFu magician. So MoFu is middle of the funnel. You need to get very good at converting people in a very efficient way from a visitor into a qualified lead, into a customer. And there's a lot of new interesting technology going on here, and you need to sort of take advantage of it. So I just think of this as, on the left, these are the inputs into your business. So you know a lot about your potential customers and your customers. You know what pages they visited on your site. They know if you're subscribing to your blog and which articles they read and commented on. Are they following on Facebook? What about Twitter? Did they attend a webinar? What's their purchase history, if any? And over time, as you build up more information about that potential customer, it's feeding into what I think of as like a segmentation engine in your business. And then the output to your potential customer, the website experience, the emails you're sending them, become highly segmented, sort of, I think of it as segments of one. So I get a very different email than you do. When I visit your website, it looks very different than when you visit your website, and everyone's got a very personalized experience. And the way you want this to work is the more information you get about a potential customer, the more personalized and segmented the information is, the more additional users have come into your system, the more your system learns about it, the better the information gets about it. So you've got this sort of very much a learning loop. And instead of being very broadcasting one to many, you want to be highly targeted. I'm going to be back to my favorite